Hi, I'm Yrsa Sigurdardottir. I'm a crime fiction author, and I'm going to take you on a brief tour of my home country, Iceland, the setting of my best-selling mystery series. Not only do I want to show you some of the more popular areas of Iceland, but also some of the more unknown places in the country that have a very interesting history to them. We are now on Skólavörðustígur, a quaint shopping street downtown Reykjavik, where I envision that my main character, Þóra Guðmundsdóttir, who's a lawyer, has her offices. The funny thing about writing crime fiction in Iceland is that there are only 300,000 people that live in the country, and serious crimes are relatively few and far between. This is, of course, great for the general public, but extremely depressing for a crime writer. An Icelandic murder lacks motive, and the murderer is never egged on by any evil impulses, merely stupidity and impaired judgment. So writing about crime in Iceland is a bit like fishing in uncharted waters. You throw out your net, and you can be lucky with your catch by capturing the imagination of the reader, or you can be unlucky and your story seems pretentious and downright silly. Whatever the outcome, one always recites an unconscious prayer in the hope that the criminals don't catch on, as in real life, boring crime is preferable to the fascinating. Not far from Skólavörðustígur in downtown Reykjavik is the small, windy suburb of Seltjarnarnes, where I chose for Þóra to live, because I reside here myself. My protagonist Þóra is a divorced mother of two who is struggling to make ends meet, trying to raise her family, have a successful career. Pretty basic, normal stuff, although I do throw her into some strange predicaments. When readers are introduced to her in my first novel, The Last Rituals, she takes a very peculiar but lucrative case that has her working with a former German policeman, Matthew Reich, who makes an appearance in the new book, My Soul to Take. Fishing has been a big part of the Icelandic economy since the days of early settlement. Behind me you can see part of the Reykjavik fishing fleet. The black ships are the whaling ships. Strangely enough, on the opposite side of the pier are ships used for whale watching, which has become an important part of the tourist industry over the past few years. These industries seem to be able to coexist. The reason I love writing books set in Iceland despite its lack of serious crime is that it has everything needed as a background for interesting murders and out-of-the-ordinary drama. It's a small society, unlike any other, with quirky characters looming at every corner. It has a landscape that just begs for creepy occurrences and allows for endless ways of getting rid of bodies or evidence. Not to mention the abundance of possible, unusual ways to murder someone. Since Snæfellsnes is a pretty remote area in Iceland, there's an abundance of locations where I can easily imagine someone committing a murder unnoticed, and the cove behind me is a good example of such a place. Also, although not acted upon, Icelandic society is brimming with motives. We had a huge financial sector that collapsed. Love and sex are all around. An irresponsible or what me worry attitude is general, as is the belief in ghosts and the occult. In addition, close connection and relevance of the past invites vendettas and related revenge. As the premise for the second Þóra novel, My Soul to Take, I chose Snæfellsnes. It's a peninsula on the west coast of Iceland where you can find everything that characterizes Icelandic nature. You have the sea, you have mountains, you have lava, a dormant volcano, which is now a glacier. I also use folklore and myth to add a paranormal effect to the storyline. But first I had to think of a reason why Þóra would find herself in this region of Iceland. Because of the influx of tourists, we've had new resorts spring up, and I thought she would represent the owner of such a hotel. So when the owner of the hotel becomes the prime suspect in a murder case, he calls on Þóra to represent him in the investigation. Þóra, being the nosy person that she is, sets out to find the real murderer. One of the locations that inspired me was the Black Church. It's worth noting that true to our roots as farmers and fishermen, Icelanders use these ponies for more than just horseback riding. On occasion, we eat them, and although less frequently, their skin or fur is sometimes used to make boots, for example. I made sure not to wear my pair for any of the shots. Since Icelanders are only 300,000, it's difficult to get all the stuff done you need to run a country. So like many Icelanders, I have to take on two jobs. My day job, so to say, is an engineer. One of the most important industries in Iceland is the renewable energy sector. For example, we use geothermal energy to heat 95% of the country's homes, and we also use it for outdoor public swimming pools that are open year-round and operated with geothermal water. Although I have only managed to provide a brief glimpse of what Iceland has to offer, I can assure you a visit will be worth your while. But if for some reason you can't make the trip, I recommend reading my books that take place there about Thora, called Last Rituals, and the one that's just out, My Soul to Take.